we're talking now about the Colombo port city.
Port city.
It became a very political subject during the latter part of the election, and the present government, even the present Prime Minister, said that once, if elected, this project would be stopped. And this was one of the talk of the town at that time. If you could tell us, enlighten us, what is this the project about, very briefly?
Mm-hmm.
How the ownership belongs to Sri Lanka and China, and what is the percentage of the land? I know that there is this agreement that I think that the land is given to China. I mean, a percentage of land is will be under the Chinese government, and then all this speculation is all about the Sri Lankan government will own this percentage, the China will have another percentage, and etc. etc. The people are not really focused or clear about this entire project. What is the project? What is the size of the project? How long will it take to finish? And what is the investment that the Chinese government or the Chinese companies are going to put in? And what is the repayment plan for
no repayment at all.
Yeah. Okay, if you can just tell us.
Yeah. It is a very good project for your country. Just like the previous largest investment, Colombo Southern Containers Harbor, it will be another successful story, even bigger. You know that Colombo port city, it is a city, not a port. Not be misled by the name. Yeah, maybe in the future, when consult all Sri Lankan people, it should be changed the name to Lotus Island or something like that. It will build a city complex, new city complex connected to the existing CBD, which is very much crowded. Yeah, a new CBD, a new city complex with the same parks, apartment buildings, cinemas, entertainment facilities, and tourist centers, and maybe temples, and church, and museum. So it's a brand new territory of your country. It is a brand new city affiliated to the existing Colombo. The size is 233, something like that, hectares, and among which, as far as I understand, only 10% is given to the company for free for exploration, and another around 100, something like that, 108 hectares will be rented by the company for exploration to attract international investors, and others. Sri Lanka Port Authority will have the responsibility to explore, to attract international investors and domestic investors. So 1.4 billion US dollars for the first phase to create the land in about 3 years. I think if speed up, maybe 2.5 years. 1.4 billion US dollars totally from the investor. Sri Lankan people and the Sri Lankan government no need to pay a single rupee. It is a China investment, not a Chinese government loans. the investor is the famous CCCC, China Communication Construction Company Group, which is also one of the leading construction company, as well as one of the world 500, top 500 companies. So Sri Lankan people no need to pay a single rupee, but your country is getting bigger and bigger. The responsibility of a Chinese company after pay all the land is to attract international investors. Sri Lankan people, company, Indian company, Japanese, US, European company, everybody can come here to invest. So I believe Mayor of Colombo will be very happy to see his city is getting bigger and bigger every day. With regard to the concern about the ownership, that's your land, that's your territory forever. Not a single inch of land will be given to Chinese government, Chinese company. That's your territory. It's under the jurisdiction and governing, of course, under the Sri Lankan government. Chinese company, by exploring it, will pay tax. You will have revenue. And it will create 889,000 high salary jobs. 83,000 high salary jobs. And you know, at present, in the construction area, already 470 engineers and workers working there. 300 are Sri Lankans. I met them. They are engineer. The deputy project engineer is Sri Lankan. So it's a good project for a better life of Sri Lankan, and will make Colombo, after the finish of construction, it will not only create a job opportunity, but make make Colombo City the real commercial center, maybe in this region. Yeah.
You said this 1.4 billion for the initial first phase, invested by the China CCC.
CCCC. Yeah.
Is it for the entire project, or is it only for the
first phase
of the land?
Yeah, only for the filling of the land, 1.4 billion US dollar. That show the investor, all the financial risk is on the investor. You have nothing to lose if they are not a success. You only have the land. But if this success, everybody's success. So we have a new city, not a new port.
Okay.
Yeah.
That 10% given to the Chinese company, that particular, once you fill the entire land, the 10% which is owned by Chinese company, will it be permanently owned, or will it be for 99-year lease period?
As far as I understand, it's for right now it's permanently, but I think that's why you can attract investors. So Sri Lankan people, Sri Lanka government do not pay a single rupee. So in order to attract this company, so just 10% to give them, not under the sovereignty of them, but for them to explore. In the future, if they want to sell it, That's good. Yes, that's fair. I think that's a fair play. Yeah, it is them to create the land, and they shoulder all the financial risk. Sometimes I joking about them. You are putting 1.4 billion US dollar in water. So created land. The land will be there forever. Your country will permanently have a land of 233 hectares. That's yours. China cannot move back home. That's always yours.
Why on these benefits, with all the benefits, why do you think that this has become much more political topic? That the pre-present government was, when they were in contesting elections, they said that we will stop this. Why do you think that this became so a political topic, a debate in among the Sri Lankan politicians, even to go to the extent of saying we will put a total stop to this project? Why do you think? Was it the Indian pressure, or was it petty political reasons? Was because of the previous government was very good with China, or was it? What is your real genuine opinion on it?
It is a tough question that for a diplomat is very difficult to answer, to be frank, because that's your internal politics. Why not to ask your politician, ask your people? They will have a clear answer to you. But as far as I understand, during the election, when Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe was asked the question in a press conference about the Port City project, he didn't say that he will stop over it. He will stop it or cancel it. He just said that if the feasibility study is not done, if the environmental evaluation is not done well, I may stop over. They have the prerequisite. Yeah. And a few days, you can check the internet. The Xinhua News Agency, Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe was interviewed by Xinhua News Agency, and he made clarification about that. So do not misunderstood what your politician has said.
Okay, now whatever it is said and done, once the new government came into power, the cabinet decided earlier that they will go ahead with the project, and all of a sudden Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, the Prime Minister himself, last week put a cabinet paper to the cabinet of ministers saying that we will ask this Chinese company to temporarily suspend the project until some of the reports of feasibility or whatever are taken or are provided. So do you think that the company does it mean that the company has not done the proper feasibility, not done the proper environmental impact assessment, or have you all not done anything? Why do you think that they temporarily suspended this project?
That question I cannot answer you. This decision was made by your government. Yeah, you can ask them. As far as I understand, as a responsible one of the top 500 world leading companies, CCCC, went through all the procedures according and obey all the laws and regulations set by your government. The continuity of the government, the continuity of investment policy is very much important for the foreign investors' confidence of your country. So, and the international bilateral agreement and commercial contract signed by the government and relevant departments such as the Port Authority with foreign investors, of course, should be honored and respected. The Chinese company CCCC has already issued a statement saying that they will work fully with the new government and will provide all documents. So the Chinese government also encouraged our company to obey the law and work 100% cooperatively with your government. And we also express our concern to the new government because we believe the legal rights of the investors, no matter it is Chinese investor or Indian investor or a Japanese investor, their legal rights should be protected, respected. The new government of Sri Lanka welcome investment from the outside world. So China as the second economic giant, of course, is the one your government or every government in the world to welcome China's investment.
So do you think that this the decision to suspend this, that means with knowing all if the Chinese company has gone through the real litigation process, has gone through a real documentation process, all of a sudden this 2 week, the suspension, temporary suspension
of
work. Do you mean is it because of some external pressure or for political reasons that they have taken this within the backdrop of Indian Premier's visit to Sri Lanka just to show the Indian? Do you think that this government is trying to slightly delay this and again restart or something like that?
It is a very sensitive question that I do not want to answer. But what I want to say is that China is a good friend of Sri Lanka. India is a good neighbor. As your Foreign Minister Mangla's visit to China at the press conference, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi expressed the willingness of China to cooperate with both India and Sri Lanka. It is not only a win-win situation, but three-party win. Yeah, we can cooperate together to make South Asia a better place for investors, for tourists, and to make Sri Lanka, we can cooperate here in Sri Lanka to make Sri Lanka the peace lasting forever, the economy growing forever, to be a peaceful and prosperous country. Because today's world is an interdependent world. Yeah, we are living in a small global village, dependent on each other.
So by any chance, do the government of China, on behalf of the government of China, the embassy in Colombo, will you all lobby with the present Sri Lankan government in order to expedite or recommence the work on behalf of the contractor? Will you lobby on behalf of the contractor with the Sri Lankan government to restart the construction work, since it's a bilateral agreement?
If according to the agreement and contract, this project construction should go on. We hope in the near future, when the new government re-evaluate the construction work will go on, because this is good project for all, not only for China, but also for Sri Lanka and South Asia and even the world.
And the Sri Lankan president is due to visit China, I think, perhaps in March, end of March.
26.
Yes. And will the Chinese government take this issue? If that, by the time when the president goes there to China, if still the project is stagnated here, will the government put to pressure your government to recommence the work, since it is a bilateral agreement between two governments?
We know that your president, His Excellency Sri Lanka, will pay a state visit to China, and the Chinese government welcome his visit. This embassy is working very closely with our counterparts in the Ministry of External Affairs of Sri Lanka to make preparation for this state visit. Just like our President, His Excellency Xi Jinping's visit, we hope this visit also can push forward our bilateral relations as well as mutual beneficial cooperation. You know, President Xi's visit is a historical one and successful one. 28 cooperative agreement has been signed and to push forward, and we also declare the action plan for deepening the strategic cooperative partnership between our two countries. We hope your president's visit can focus on the implementation of this action plan, and maybe some new outcome could be reached.
I also hope that definitely the work of the project will really start soon for the benefit and the betterment of this country, especially with both the countries, for the sanity between Sri Lanka and China and for the good relations. But supposing for whatever reasons with the hardcore political parties, a coalition in the present government, if the present government is pressurized in one or the other to stop this project, will there be any serious consequences financially or diplomatically with Sri Lanka and China?
I will not to answer hypothetical. Repeat. I will not answer hypothetical questions. But you know, this project is the largest foreign direct investment this country have ever attracted. If you lose this chance in the coming 50 years, even 100 years, nobody, no investors will give a chance again to you to build such a beautiful city complex, new CBD.